Well, hello there, and welcome to another episode of the South African Cricket Podcast. My name is Mpho and Tim. I've got Tim Delace here with me. It's raining in Joburg, so I'm not sure if we're going to get a one-day cup final on Sunday, but we'll be hoping and praying that we do. And I think the Titans are lucky that they're going to be playing in Quebec because it's not looking good over here. Tim, I know you guys have bright sunshine and you enjoyed a great weekend. How are you, my friend?
All good, but all good. Fantastic. Can't complain. All good, all good.
Let's get all the business out the way. Then we're going to talk about all the other stuff. Please do follow us at the SA Cricket Pod on X. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at South African Cricket Podcast YouTube channel. Also, we are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify if you are an audio person and want to listen to us and not see our lovely faces. I think there's one episode 300 actually has our faces, which is awesome because you can load videos on Spotify, which is amazing. And then lastly, you can buy some coffee and support us at buymeacoffee.com/SA Cricket Pod. So yeah, there's QR codes on either side. And the link is if you click on there with your phone, you'll get there. And there's one at the bottom right here if you are on YouTube. Okay. Interesting week for South African cricket, but interesting week for South African sport alone. And I was at LIV on Saturday. I walked the grounds because I'm the man of the people. I didn't have a VIP pass. I don't like to do that, Tim. And I met a fan. And it's so exciting to meet people. And don't be shy if you see me around the cities, wherever you see me, and say hi. And if you have any pointers, please do. The said person said, this guy said, great show. I wanted to get his name, but he walked away because we're busy watching John Rahm, which is another great thing because he is really, really good. And it kind of makes me think about, obviously from a cricketing perspective, but just a general, Tim, what LIV is kind of showing us is what SA20 showed us, right? Is that if you bring international stars, South Africans will come and watch. And yeah, the Nedbank hasn't been great over time, Tim, because we haven't had that level of stars and it's a DP World Tour and Rory does not want to come here. But I do tell you, if Rory ever were to come here, it'd be big. The last time he was here, it was huge at Glendower. So it's just one of those situations where maybe, Graham, if you're watching, if you can convince BCCI to let go of Virat Kohli for a month and also Rohit Sharma for a month, you could have an SA20 that's a showstopper. If you saw what happened to LIV, if you bring in those Indian stars, we're there. Yeah, we can't get the Australians, but damn sure, because we've got Indian owners, and maybe negotiate that, we don't need the new ones. I'll even take Dhoni at JSK. Just to add a little bit more spice. But I loved it this weekend. I think it was awesome, Tim, to just kind of see how South Africans can galvanize around the thing. And LIV was taboo, Tim. The PGA Tour is still there. The Sunshine Tour has nothing to do. That's the South African Golf Tour. Does not want anything to do with LIV. And I'm sure we're sitting there going, if the PGA Tour could have a tournament in Africa, even if it's preseason, right? And just get one of the players, because LIV's motto was, we're bringing golf to the world. It's funded by a state that the Americans hate. Fine, we get that. But if the PGA Tour, who claim to be clean, brought golf to the world, South Africa is like the country with the third amount of people who've won on the PGA Tour. I think it's after the US and I think the UK. I'm bringing them all together. And then it's us. You can fight maybe Spain and Japan, but yeah, we're there. Gary Player, Charles, Louis, all those boys have won on the PGA Tour. If you bring golf to us, it won't be as loud as LIV, but it'll be definitely well attended, and it could rival, one of their low. Like I like Puerto Rico. It's part of America, but maybe bring it down south, and you can see. But anyway, that was my weekend. Tim, did you watch any LIV?
I did not. It will not shock people. It will not shock people. Listen to this podcast on a regular basis that I would not be a fan of LIV and what it represents. However, there's always a nuance with me. I cannot deny it's been a success. I cannot deny the influence it had over the weekend. I cannot deny the fact that it did a lot of wins over the weekend. It brought a lot of fans to Stein City, which looks like a really good golf course. I couldn't completely avoid. There would be a highlight reel somewhere on the socials. So it looked really good. It looked really, really impressive. So,
look, it's a good thing because 2027 is a South African year, right? We're hosting the World Cup at the end of the year next year, the Cricket World Cup.
Yeah.
So being able to host these world-class things is also a way to advertise to the world that we are a united country and we love our sports. Like the Bafana collab that they did on the Friday, now we just need a Proteas collab next year on the Friday, right? When they are all wearing the new Proteas kit, right? Hopefully it's Adidas, just putting it out there. But if it's not, yeah. And so that's the thing. It was really nice.
Just very, very briefly. I know Cricket South Africa doesn't have the coffers of LIV. It's silly to even suggest that they would have anything like it. However, it does show to me that Cricket South Africa put just a little bit more money into our domestic structure, exposure of the domestic structure, the product would improve. I don't want to hear any more about we don't have enough money. You're getting England and Australia next summer. England and Australia, coffers are going to be full after that. You can do something. That's all I ask. Just do something. It needs to be improved.
No, they definitely can do something. And let's go to the cricket. The first thing we're going to start off with is Connor Esterhuizen. Oh, my word. I did not envisage this, Tim. Connor Esterhuizen, product of my alma mater, St. John's. Yeah, we've got another St. John's boy in there. Clive Rice, Devon Conway was the last one, but he's playing for New Zealand now. And now Connor Esterhuizen. Really, really awesome to see Connor playing for the green and gold. We have a series. We have a decider, Tim. I did not expect that we were going to have a decider because after that 8-wicket win, it looked like, and obviously yesterday South Africa scored 164 for 5, batting first. You got Connor Esterhuizen scoring 57 of 36, Ruben Hammond 28 of 25, Tony Dzorzi 23 of 21, Deon Forrest and Jason Smith 19 of 14, and obviously George Linder 14 of 8. That's not good enough. Heck, if you are going to be bowled out for 164, it's the whole Zimbabwe thing. Remember, Zimbabwe got to 172 for 2 at the World Cup, and everyone was like, I'd rather be all out at 172. I'd also rather be all out at 164. But again, remember, this is the A squad, but they are being Proteas, right? And there's that step up, and you want to see who the gems are that are coming through. From a consistency perspective, Connor Esterhuizen is the guy who's actually coming through, taking chance of his thing. That 50 yesterday in tough conditions, learning how to figure it out at international level, which is also why, the strike rates are where they are. But Connor's the only one with a strike rate of 158. All the other games, he also had an important knock in the first game that we won. But again, this is the point where we see the next level of guys. And I wouldn't be surprised if Connor gets a phone call and is told to not fly home, but fly to India. But again, I didn't know him. I think he took time out of the game in thinking he's been an Alliance product the whole way through. He's been in the Alliance for a very long time. I've known him as a domestic player. But at this level, we've seen last season and this season, his performances domestically have warranted us to look at him. And Tim, I am impressed. What do you say?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I was having a discussion with somebody we've had on the podcast when we were talking about New Zealand, Adam, and I said to him, beginning of the series, I said, "Watch out for this lad. He's gonna be a fight. He's gonna take his chance because, as you rightly point out, the last 12 months, i.e., this particular season domestically, he has dominated within our system. He looks like he knows where his game is at, and I knew that he was going to. No, I didn't know. I was very confident that he was going to have an impact on the series, and that he was going to show his quality at this level and show us that actually, if, for example, if Verena was injured, he could come in and he'd do a job. He would do it, do a decent job for us. Not surprised that he's done as well as he has. There are plenty of people that I am surprised on the other spectrum. But Connor, I knew that he was one of the shining lights in this squad that was I had high hopes for on this series.
Yeah, so I'm just going to give you a view of some of the key batters that are there. Connor Esterhuizen leads the run scoring in the series, 125 runs at a strike rate of 120. It's been a tough batting series. The pitches haven't been great, so that strike rate is going to be quite low. Devon is actually second with 100 runs, but he didn't play a game. He's only played 3 games. Deon Forrester is George Lind is the next South African with the runs on 70 off 39 balls. That's a strike rate of 179. So there's something there for George, and George is kind of showing us what he's always had with the bat. It's just he's a number 7 and or an 8. It's not, he's not a top 6 batter. Deon Forrester, who we had high hopes in, he's got 62 runs off 64 balls, so his strike rate is 96, coming in when the team is in trouble. So it'll be interesting to see when the team is in full flight how he's going to do. And yesterday was kind of that day. That 19 or 14 was something. The next person on that list is Ruben Hadman, who we have high hopes for. He scored 58 runs in 4 innings or 51 balls, a strike rate of 113. So it's not good. But I think Ruben's got enough evidence for him to get another look into the side. Deon Forrester has the traits, right? There's no way he doesn't succeed with the way with what he has, right? And so that's a slightly different conversation, but I think that's the thing. And then Jason Smith, right, coming out of the World Cup, 51 runs or 48 balls. It's not what we expected from him. I think this series we expected a lot more from a guy who was initially selected in the squad, right? And he hasn't come through. The Jason Smith, the finisher, hasn't necessarily come through. And then just below there, Tony Dezorzi played 4 games, 41 runs at 51 balls, a strike rate of 80, batting at 3. That's not good enough. That's patently not good enough. I like Tony. You could say maybe there's an injury there and he needs more time. Happy to give him more time, but these returns kind of say that maybe in the subcontinent he did quite well, but I think he might need a T20 circuit around the world, maybe a blast to kind of get him back into everyone's eye line. He needs one good season. Maybe it is a CSA T20 just to, get him into the Proteas setup. But with these numbers, I don't think he's going to be in and around. And then the other one that we need to look at is Vian Mulder. He's played 3 games, 16 runs as an opener, an average of 5 and a strike rate of 61. Now, this one needs a discussion before we go to the bowling, right? Obviously, Jordan Hadman got injured. We had an issue because we literally took one reserve batter, and that's Vian, and he's like an all-rounder, not a batter. What is Vian's best batting position in T20? Because in the SA20, he batted at 4, and all he could do was nudge and noodle the ball around so that he could give the strike to Heino Klaasen. That was SA20 last year. This year, same thing. Not a power hitter, traditional cricketer, and he's got all the talent in the world. He's probably the most talented cricketer we have in South Africa. The issue I have with Vian is that is T20 his game? It's kind of like that Aiden, when Aiden started in T20, you kind of like he's too proper to play this game. He kind of needs to get the power. And then Aiden went to gym and did the things, and then he stepped up. Is that the message we need to get to Vian? But then the question for me is, what's his position in the batting order?
If Vian wants to be a T20 cricketer for the Proteas, he needs to go to a Caribbean Premier League or a PSL. He needs to go, out of the limelight, so to speak, because those are lesser exposed T20 competitions. Go and do the numbers, perform right at the top in those leagues, and then come back. I don't think he should be in the Proteas T20 setup. This series, it does kind of make sense because of you want to give the World Cup guys a well-earned rest. And as you say, it's unfortunate because of Herman's injury. I don't think I know he wouldn't have opened. He wouldn't have opened if Jordan wasn't injured. So,
but then where would he play?
If he's going to play, it's going to be 4 or 5. Right? It's not a 6 or 7, because 6 or 7 you need power hitting. He's not a power hitter.
But in modern T20, you need a power hitter at 4 and 5. Look at our 4. Look at the number 1 4 and 5s, the senior team 4 and 5s. It's Brevis, it's Miller, and or Donovan Ferreiro if he's fit. And who was playing? Tristan Stubbs. That's the caliber of play he needs to play. Is he there? Yeah. Does he even have that game?
He's not there. He's very clearly not there. T20 cricket is not his benefit, not for his benefit at the moment. It's not doing his confidence any good, this tour. As I say, I understood his inclusion because he wanted to have some experience within the squad. So I understood it. But as I said, Jordan Herman's injury, and I don't know what Shukri has been telling him in terms of what he wants from him in this format, because it doesn't look, as you say, it doesn't look clear to me what his role is. Jason Smith's role is clear. He just hasn't performed. Tony Tesausi's role is clear. He just hasn't performed. Those guys, they know what they're supposed to do and where in the position that they're batting. I don't see a plan for Mulder. He's a talented batsman. He'll find his way. Can't really do that at this level. You can do that for the Lions. You can't do it at this level. So as I say, I think he needs to go back into the less exposed T20 leagues if he wants to play for the Proteas at this format, score runs, take wickets in those competitions, and then come back. And obviously have a very good SA20 for whoever he plays for in 2026.
It'll be JSK. They paid 12 million for him.
There we go. So JSK.
It's going to have a good it was too much. And it's not me hating on him, right? So this is my thought with Vian, right? I look at the type of batter he is, and I'm like, actually, opening should work for him, actually, because it's easier to score, right? And he would be able to maximize the power play. And I understand the view that you would want someone else who could better maximize the power play, like a Jordan Hanman, but we don't have that. And maybe move a Jason Smith up there because he's a power hitter and all of that. But I think, as you say, Jason's role is defined. He bats lower down the order, and he actually thrives there. We've seen it happen, right? Vian, I don't see him as a 3. I don't see him as a 4, 5, or a 6. Heck, if he's going to bat, I'd put him at 8. And I'd be like, dude, you're there. Here's a bowler. But if he's going to bat with the talent that he has, and this is the thing, he's Mr. 367 for a reason. He can do this, right? He's not Mr. 400. I'd love for him to be Mr. 400. He's Mr. 367 for a reason. And for me, to maximize Vian, and this is maybe a JSK thing. Stephen Fleming, if you're listening, Prasanna, if you're listening, is it not fair to give Vian a full run as an opener? And tell him now that he needs to learn to be an opener. Because that strike rate as an opener, yes, I know, you guys need to leave the Indian team aside. Just leave them for a bit, because we are 5 years behind them, right? Just as in general in world cricket. If Vian can find a way to score runs at the top of the order, I think it will work. I think it'll work for his game. I think that's the type of game he thrives on. He's not like Aiden, where Aiden is versatile and he can pick moments. Vian is still young. He's still learning his trade, and we understand that. And now you're adding on this T20 thing. I think just let him open. It will unleash him. It'll free him up. And maybe there's an opportunity for him at 4, 5, and 6 once he's learned how to score. Yes, the field is small, the fielders are in and everything else, but I do believe that if push came to shove, and this is for the Lions because you've got a star in Vian Mulder, and this is for JSK because you're already paying him a lot of money, make him open. Don't make him bad at 3, at 4, right? It's becoming very tough to watch. And I know he knows this, because I think it's not his best form and he's trying to learn. I think opening works for him. I really do think it does. It just right now, it's looking very bad because I don't think he understands how to score at a T20 tempo. Right? And it's kind of like Vian at the World Test Championship when we made him open at 3, when he batted 3. And that first innings against Australia, he really struggled. You could see that he was out of his depth. But then in that second innings, he adjusted very nicely. He was moving his feet. He was doing the dance to Nathan Lyon. He was very confident. And I think if you give him a run at the top of the order, Lions, whichever T20 side he plays, heck, the Super Giants, the Super Kings, have franchises in the US, bring Vian in. He's an upgrade to whoever you guys have there. Let him play. Let him earn some money. Also across in the Caribbean, he can, do that thing. I think it would be doing him a lot of wonders. Heck, even in the T20 blast. He's such a great county player. He's also such a great asset with the ball in England that even if you took him as a bowler and you opened with him to elongate your batting lineup, Vian is in. Vian's your guy. And so for me, Tim, that's the view that I have of him. I didn't want to make this a Vian Mulder podcast, but we're there. Anyway.
You made a convincing argument for him as opener. You've actually convinced me far better at the moment anyway. You make a very, very persuasive argument, definitely.
Yeah. Look, and I understand for the decider, everyone's going to want Tony to open, right? Vian's still a nudger and a nerdler. When we need to go big, I'd rather Vian be nudging and nerdling in the power play and giving the guy, Connor Esterhuizen on the other side, the ability to score the boundary. So we then have clear roles to be like, you're the boundary scorer, you're going to give me strike, right? I hate this word, but because in modern T20, the anchor, Vian just needs to have people bat around him. He just needs to be running in between wickets and doing that stuff. It's kind of the same issue we had with Timber, right? You're like, how do we make Timber work in modern T20? Timber's going to make you run. But anyway, Connor, well done. Thank you for representing. Thank you for doing everything. I'd like to see you in the next T20 squad. And speaking about seeing in the next T20 squad, the bowlers. Let's have a look. Remember last week we sat here going, we're back up, fast bowling is on point. Gerald Coetzee was like, hey boys, I'm still around. Gerald did well yesterday, took 3 wickets. He's now tied at the top of the series with 6 wickets. Ben Sears of New Zealand is also on 6. Keshav Maharaj, surprise, 6 wickets. But then Bartman, 5 wickets. Mokoena played 3 games, 3 wickets. Vian's also taken 3 wickets, right? The only guys who are there, Lucha's only played one game. He's gotten 1 wicket. Pren's also got 2 wickets, and he played that last game. And so you have a situation where we're looking good. Nandre Berger's around and available. He's at the IPL. Gerald's now looking great. If you're a DSG fan right now, you must be very happy because Gerald's back. I think we've found a way to fix Gwena, because Gwena wasn't playing well at SA20, but that World Cup, you kind of sat there going, they've got something there. And then if you're a Paul Royals boy, you're like, yeah, look, nobody's probably going to get a test cap at the end of the year. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm like, yeah, fast bowling stocks are good. And I think from a bowling perspective, that's what's kept us in this tournament. And that 165 was nowhere near par. Let's not get it twisted. But again, the smarts of Keshav. These kids are learning under a master. And it's working. And if there's something you take out, a positive you take out outside of Connor in this tour, it's our fast bowlers. Our bowling is as advertised. It let us down in the World Cup semi-final, but we can rest Kagiso, you can rest Lungi, and we'll be fine. That's what I'm getting from this team.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. You're right. There's no way that we should have won that game. But we got over the line. We made a difference in the second half of New Zealand's innings. And that, as you said, that fast bowling contingent is something to see. It's great to see Gerald back. Not only to see him back, but to see in when we saw Anna back, bowling quickly. I know that the New Zealand stadiums are at the small side, but I wanted to see Gerald at his pace. So yeah, there were a couple when the top edges went for 6, but he came through in the end. It made the difference. His extra pace actually was the difference. It's great to see. Great to see everybody firing. I'm happy for Pren. That was I thought Pren bowled really, really well. They didn't really have any answers for Pren, especially his faster ball. Everything's going smoothly in terms of the bowling. We've discussed the batting. There are some issues there, but the bowling, it's, as you say, as advertised, running as smoothly as you could want.
So here's the headache. Decided tomorrow. Ngobani Mokoena was rested. Are you going to try and find a way to bring him into the side? Or are you rolling the same team as yesterday? Or was it Wednesday? Yeah.
The thing is, I need George. George has been very effective with the bat, with our batting struggles. So I don't need George to bowl 4 overs. I don't. Clearly, as we saw. But I do need him potentially if we're going to have problems with Mulder, Smith, and
So here's an argument. Here's an argument for you. I've got an argument for you, right? I know I've spoken up about Vian and trying to save his T20 career. So, how about we drop Vian, promote Linda to open with Connor? I know you guys are gonna jump on me, but just listen a bit. Linda opens, Mulder on the bench, Mokoena comes in. And you live with that 6-5 split. Because at this point in time, and with all due respect, Vian is a great player. He's a walking wicket.
I'm just trying to work out who else could open. I don't like the idea of George opening.
Okay, so here's the thing. So here's the idea. Here's the other idea, right? You promote Tony to open with Connor. You push Ruben to 3, and you slot Linda in at 4 as your pinch hitter. So then you still
we
keep
tried that.
Dion and Jason there at the bottom.
We tried that at the World Cup. Didn't work. We
Give it
tried
a
this
chance.
before.
Yeah, I know. Even Mark Boucher tried it. I understand, Tim, but you gotta give someone a chance.
No, I'm going to stick to this.
Okay.
I can't. No, I'm going to go with the same team. I understand what you're saying, but this team, where does this team struggle? It's struggling at the top, right, in terms of the batting. I don't see that suddenly changing in the decider. I don't see it. I just don't. Even in the T20 format, do we need McKenna as a bowler?
Yes.
I love the boy. I love the boy. I think he's got a bright future out of him. But to win this one-off game, I don't see it. I don't see the imperative need for him. I see the need for a Linda. I cannot express it. If Smith or DeSaucy were doing well, they were doing decently with the bat, then you drop Mulder and you play McKenna. No problems with that. That's not happening at the moment. We've seen this before. He hasn't performed, but even Jason Smith has been batting too high in this series. It's one position too high, in my opinion, but he's been batting at one position too high. And whether that's just subconsciously or not, he's just not getting it right. He needs to be batting at six. Anything higher than 6 for Jason it should not be happening. So no, I'm going to go with the same team. I just hope that somebody in the top there is going to come off. Whether it's a Tony, whether it's a Vian, somebody come off at the final.
Okay, Tim. Yeah, that's the Proteas team. He doesn't want a team unchanged. I'm willing to move Vian out and let Ngobani Mokoena and just go at them with the ball. But also, Shukri, do you see how nice it is to have an off spinner? It's very nice, Coach Shooks. It's beautiful, and so yeah, it's either Pren or Simon, but yeah, we really need to go compliment Kesh on the other side, please. But yeah, anyway, the women's team is not doing well. The Proteas women have lost this T20 series in New Zealand, something I'm surprised by a lot. And I think this one goes down to form. But let me tell you the form, because it's so stark. It's ridiculously so stark. And I am looking for series wickets and runs, and it's not working. But anyway, the highest run scorer for the Proteas women is debutante Kayla Reinicker at 99 runs. If you look at the two New Zealanders above her, Amelia Kerr, 171 runs. Sophie Devine, 156 runs. And I know we've rejigged our batting lineup, and we are out here. Obviously, Laura's now batting at 3, and Tasman and Chloe are opening, and Mandla's trying different things right now, trying to see where everything is, and if this is where Laura's position going to be. I'm not so sure, and I think that for me is the question, Tim. Should we just stop this experimentation right now? We've tried Sune, we've tried Tasman opening. Can we just go to Laura at opening? And also, obviously, there's the Danae of it all, and I think Danae makes this team better. But it feels like it's Cinderella past midnight, and this team is now all of a sudden lost all the form that they had at the World Cup in India, and also coming through the Ireland series and the Pakistan series. Tim, what's going on with this women's team?
I don't mind Mandla trying things. I don't like coaches doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. I don't mind him trying things, but it's very, very clear. we're at the back end of this T20 series. It's very clear that none of it has worked. Nothing in the changes has said, you know what, that might actually work. It might not working today, but it might actually work. There is no evidence that any of it is working. In the same way that I said with the men, Laura's best position is opener. Laura, I think it was a few weeks ago. You asked me, am I worried with Laura's form? I am now. I absolutely am now. And it is partly due to her having to bat at 3. Again, don't mind him trying things out. Have no issue with it. But it's very clear that it is not working. Same with Sunay. Same with Chloe. Sunay and Chloe are middle order batsmen. They're in their stages of their careers where they will always be middle order batsmen. You're not going to turn them into openers at this stage of their careers. Kelly Ronica, we don't know. Kelly Ronica may, by the end of her career, she may become a magnificent opening batsman. It is possible. I think it's unlikely, but it is possible because she is. Well, I'm just saying, she's just starting out in her career. You don't know where she's going to end up. That's the point.
So, yeah.
Look,
I'm with you, Tim. Yeah. And I think the idea behind this is we want to go with the modern T20 route, right? Try pack your top order with power hitters, right? We know Laura's a power hitter. We know Tasman's a power hitter. Chloe is a power hitter, but she always bats at 8, right? So it always irritated me because I'm sitting there going, sometimes Chloe comes in after Sinalo, and I'm like, in no world should that ever be happening. Sinalo, you know I love you. I love you. You're my girl. But in no world that should be happening. So I'm okay with this experiment. I'm just saying, surely there's a position at 3 or 4. Not opening, because the question is the same question we had with AB de Villiers. AB, people think AB is not the greatest T20 player that has ever lived. AB is the greatest T20 player that ever lived. The only problem is AB batted at 4. And most of the T20 runs in T20 are scored by openers. WPL, the highest run scorer will always be an opener. IPL, same thing. SA20, Ryan Rickleton got how many balls? So if this is the way the world is going, look at India, right? The men's team. They went Abhishek Sharma and Ishan Kishan. They were the guys. Tilak Varma is one of the greatest ball strikers in the world. When he dominated us and scored hundreds, he was opening for India in South Africa. So what I'm arguing is I get that and I understand that and I'm seeing where we're going. Is there no argument here that you throw your best batters at the problem, right? So Laura does open. I know Laura's versatile. This is the reverse Aiden Markram. Shook said to us, Aiden's our best player. He's opening in all 3 formats. This is who he is. I want him to face the ball in T20 and dominate. And everyone was like, no, Aiden can bat at 4 because we're trying to slot people in. We're now trying to slot people in here. So my argument is it's Laura and then find a suitable number 2 for Laura. I think that suitable number 2 is Danae. I think Laura and Danae, with the way Danae's playing right now, and I know I don't know if she's injured or whatever, I haven't checked, but she should be playing in this tour. Laura and Danae in England can effectively guarantee you a whole lot of runs. And then Tasman at 3, I think Tasman will do really well at 3 because then her game is continue what was started. And she is a power hitter in her right. And then Sunay is complement whatever's happening around you at 4. Right? And then this is my argument. Chloe should bat at 5. And Chloe's job at 5 is, it's Nadine. Nadine bats at 5, Chloe at 6. Nadine and Chloe are my closers, like a Miller and a Brevis. Right? I don't want to see nudging and nerdling there. I want balls out of the park. That's how I would do this if I was Mandla. But again, he's trying to figure this out. And because we're figuring this out on the fly, this is what's going to happen. And the other problem we have then, Tim, is a bowling problem. We need help for lefty. We're not taking wickets. They're just dominating us.
The difference there is the batting situation, as you quite rightly pointed out, is very solvable. And I agree with your summation in terms of where people should be. The bowling is, I've got a problem. The problem, bowling is far more complicated. Again, it exposes to me, it seems to expose every single time that women play in recent times, the last, 12 months. What are we without Marizanne? And we are not anything like we should be. And that is
back to the Marizanne MVP argument.
And it's a problem. It's a problem that we are as weak as we are. I don't know at the moment what Henrik Dirksen and Nadine are in terms of their positions. I don't know what they are. I know what they should be. I think they should both be batting all-rounders who bowl a bit. At the moment, it looks to me to be the other way round. That's a problem for me. I don't know if their roles are clear.
Is this Annery and Nadine?
Annery and Nadine. I don't know what their roles within this team are. It doesn't seem clear to me. And I have some sympathy for Annery. Less at the side. Nadine should be nailing the position now. Nadine in this position, when she goes to
the 100.
What do you call it? The 100. There we go. She goes to the 100. She dominates. She dominates the 100. She smashes the bowling like all over the park. Put her in this position. She doesn't bowl all that much, and she doesn't produce the goods with the bat. I don't know whether it's a miscommunication between her and Butler or what it is, but she should be going, I am the successor to Marizanne, and when she retires, I'm ready to take that step. At the moment, I don't think she is.
Yeah.
She needs Anna-Marie there so they can both perform well enough. And I think that is an issue. That is an issue.
And Nadine's got this beautiful swing. And remember the World Cup where she played the COVID World Cup in Australia? She opened the bowling there. And I wouldn't mind doing that again. When Marizanne got injured in that final, she opened the bowling. Yes, it was a shortened final, but she took responsibility with the ball and she was actually stronger with the ball. So my thing is with the bat, and that's why I want to give her the responsibility at 5 or 6 to say that when you come in, your role is not to try and get us to 160. Your role is to get us to 180, 200, right? Your role is to do that. And Annery Dirksen can bat at 7, right? We've got a lot of all-rounders in the side, right? And so you kind of need to figure out what it looks like, but there's a thing, and I don't know, maybe you can clip this. If you want to know your worth, leave and see how much you are missed. That's all it is. Job, life, whatever it is, just take a break, walk away, and see what happens. And that will tell you what your worth is. And Marizanne, my girl, yeah, I knew it, and we're seeing it again in New Zealand. It's ridiculous, and that is my MVP argument, right? And I know I said Laura is the MVP of the side, but in T20s, Marizanne is so good, and she still is the MVP. Heck, even in ODIs, it's like it's you take her out of the side and they do nothing. Laura's in the side and they can't even win games. right? And it's unfortunate, it's the duality of this thing. You could say that Laura is the best player in this team, but Marizanne is the most valuable, and you're seeing it because even her replacements aren't even giving you what you need. And so, yeah, that's essentially what it is. They also play their final T20 tomorrow or Wednesday. So we'll talk about it in upcoming fixtures as to when that is. And there's some ODIs happening as well. So that's the other thing. Okay, Tim, let's go to the domestic setup. Obviously, women's post 20 is done. We had the interview with Oluhle CEO and Faye. Thank you very much to Western Province for that. You can check that out in the previous pod. Now, on the men's side, we have a champion in Division 2. It's the Knights. We're going to go through that. I'm sure you got that in the fixtures, Tim, in the results. And then we're going to talk through some of the results in Division 1 as well, because now we have a final log and now we know who's going down. So let's do this. Got lots to get through in domestic cricket. Here we go. Ooh, new slide. Just move things around here. Sorry. Oh yeah, let's do this. Don't worry. No. Easy stuff. Okay. Division 2 last week, we just had 2 games. We had the qualifier and the final. The qualifier was between the Inyati and the Mpumalanga Rhinos. The Rhinos got bowled out for 178. Tando Dini taking 3 for 32 there. Jason Niemand of the Inyati scoring 59, and Michael Copeland of the Inyati scoring 59 there. Great season for the Rhinos, but it had to end here, and the Inyati then made it their way to the final. Too many things to say about the Rhinos. I thought they played really well. Yasa Cook was so good. That team is just is growing from strength to strength, and they're getting close to these championship games. They just need to close it off and give themselves a chance at promotion.
There's always been a soft spot from us for Mpumalanga because we had the previous coach on a couple of years ago. And look, they are punching above their weight. There's no doubt about that. You're right. They're missing that sort of star quality within that squad just to get them over the line in these sorts of games. But they're doing really well. They're doing really well. And they're giving people a bloody nose. They definitely gave Nyati a bloody nose at this game. But again, and Nyati on their side, they also surprised me. I think that I don't give them quite the credit that they deserve. They've been very consistent this season, very consistent, which they weren't previously.
Okay. Then in the final, the Knights, showing their supremacy, bowled the Inyati out for 148. Vian Rutphin scoring 50 in that game. And Dane Pete taking 4 for 29 as the elder statesman, making sure that the trophy stays in bloom. And Cole Abrams scoring 33 in the chase. The Knights winning by 5 wickets and are the Division 2 One Day Cup finals. Tim, that's a clean sweep for them in Division 2 this season, a 3rd trophy. They really want it back in.
It's almost as if they knew that there was going to be a slight change in how our structure works. They were dominant from day one in this competition, and all 3 competitions. They were streets ahead of everybody else. None more so than this final. I actually thought this final was going to be competitive. I did think the Knights would get over the line, but the Knights, just as you say, desperate to prove a point and get back into Division 1 very quickly.
Yes, they wanted to get back into Division 1 very, very quickly. And then, speaking of Division 1, the final regular season games for the Division 1 One Day Cup. And you had the first game, which was the Warriors taking on the Tuskers on I think it was Friday. I think so. Yeah, Saturday. Taking on the Tuskers on Saturday. The Warriors won by 5 wickets. They bowled the Tuskers out for 197. Malcolm Norfolk scoring 57. There were 30 extras, 17 wides bowled by the Warriors in that game. Wayne Parnell scoring 31 down the order. Jack Lee's 38. They had a 73-run partnership to open, but they ended up being bowled out for 197. Gideon Peters taking 4 for 32. He's having a very good season. He's increasing his stocks with every game. Thomas Caber taking 2 for 41. For the Warriors, Reply Mudiri Titeko scoring 49 of 68. And then Snetemba Toshile 55 of 66 to help them get to that score. Bamanye Klengle taking 3 for 47 in that defense as the Tuskers are on their way to being relegated. Then in another game, you had the Lions on the same day playing Boland up here, down there in Paarl. And Boland Lions scored 242 for 7. They were, and Tim hates when I say this, 5 for 85. And Richard Silitswane and what is it? Delano Potgieter put on a 80-odd-ish run stand, and then Bjorn Fortuin and Delano also continued for another 60-odd more runs to get the total to 242 for 7. The Lions just escaping jail again. In that game, Boland's Yves Kamanzi, who's a left-arm spinner coming out of KZN, he took 4 for 38. And then you also had Akona Mnyaka 2 for 63. In reply, modest total at Boland, but the Lions bowled Boland out for 208. At one point, Boland were 4 for 165, and they were all out for 208. They lost 6 wickets for 40 runs, essentially 43 runs. It was Jedley van Brissie scoring 55 of 89, Gavin Kaplan 72 off 100. However, Reza Hendricks taking 3 for 33, Ngaba Yomzi Peter 2 for 27, Bjorn Fortuin 2 for 44. It was a spinner's paradise, and the Lions got through there. Tim, I'm going to stop here to talk about Saturday's games. The Tuskers just couldn't do it. They found themselves to be relegated, but the Lions escape again, and they finished undefeated in the regular season.
Yes, marvelous. Well done. It's so annoying. It's so annoying as a KP to watch the Lions do this the entire season across all 3 formats. Their top order strugglers have been exposed time and time and time again by a range of bowling attacks, stretching all the way through the various teams. And every single time, whether it is Delano Potgieter, whether it is Bayer Swanepoel, whether it is Bjorn Fortuin, every single time they get themselves out of fire. Look, you've got to respect that. You've got to respect that, and I do. Begrudgingly, I respect that. I saw a clip of Alan Donald talking to the players a couple of weeks ago. I'm not going to swear like he swore, but he basically said, we own this competition. And he said, when people play us, we own it. When they play us, they are going to be in hell. We need to make sure that they know that we are going to win every single time they play us. And that winning mentality, I mean, those are just words, obviously, but that winning mentality has been brought into this Lions squad by Russell Domingo, Alan Donald, Hashi Babla. It's not a coincidence that they've got the best coaching setup in the country, and they are thriving on that success, the players. It's not by chance. It is by hard work and quality individuals taking the opportunities, because this team are not just smashing every team. They are often getting themselves in trouble, and getting over the line while in trouble is actually doing this team an awful lot of good, because it shows what they can achieve. So I begrudgingly respect the Lions immensely at the way that they have dominated the season. There's no getting around it. Outside
didn't
of
didn't see a lot of Delano Portrita in SA20, and I think for me that's the sad part about it. But I do think he has a T20 future in him, and he should be somebody who actually should have been in New Zealand. However, for all the things that he lacks in talent, from a, we're not talking about scrubs here, we're talking about from a ceiling point of view, right? Like Vian has the highest ceiling, but Delano has a very high floor. What he gives you is similar to what Corbin Bosch can give you, outside of the fact that Corbin can bowl 150 Ks per hour. Yeah. Delano's thing is he's a big game player. If you are in trouble, Delano's there to save you. And for me, that has some sort of value at a Proteas level. And he's done him and Bjorn Fortuin. We've seen Bjorn in Protea colors, but Bjorn also has that in him. Him and Bjorn Fortuin this season have just revolutionized this team. They've kept them fighting. That fighting spirit that we want, that hardness we want out of the Proteas, those two have it. But that's all I'm going to say about it. Let's get back to the other results. Okay, then you've got the Dolphins playing Western Province, the final game of the season. Very, very nice game for a former friend of the pod, Carl Verena. Province scored 235. Carl Verena held the innings together with 104 of 119. Oliver Whitehead, 54. Captain Daniel Smith, 39 of 52. They got to 238 because Bayanda Majola, fast bowler from the Dolphins, 4 for 47.
It's Dolphins. I made a mistake, but it is Dolphins bowler.
Yes. JJ Smuts, 2 for 25. Tristan Lees, 2 for 48. And Bryce Parsons, 2 for 48 there. But then the Dolphins in reply did it really well. Bryce Parsons scoring 105 of 121. Sabang Detola, 35 of 43. And it went down to the wire between Tahir and Bayanda Majola managed to score the winning runs. And the youngster did it. Imran Tahir being the senior batter, doing it. It's wild. But anyway, Josh Breard, 3 for 33 for Province. Dane Patterson, 2 for 54. And John James, 2 for 48. Tim, that last period with Tahir and Majola, with Tahir is talking to the youngster like he scored 10,000 test runs, kind of guiding him through, was beautiful to watch.
If you say so. I can think of another adjective to use, but I will not. You know me. I love Emmy. I love him. I love the fact that he's back in our setup for the season in this competition. I love his enthusiasm, even at 46. But if you're allowing him to score 11 of 6 balls, you're doing something wrong. You really are doing something very, very wrong as a bowling unit. As I say, big fan of Emmy. Will always love him to bits, always love his contribution to South African cricket. But it's a season to forget for Province. Look, I don't think it's all doom and gloom, because there's a lot of youth within the squad. I think it can come back next season. I think there'll be a lot of lessons learned. I don't think I think at times we've been far too reckless in the way we've gone about games. Whether that is batting or bowling. I don't think it is doom or gloom. I don't think we're going to finish second last next season. But lessons need to be learned, because this was not anywhere near good enough from a profits point of view. And look, it wasn't a good one-day cup for the Dolphins, but they're missing a lot of players with the over in New Zealand, so they've got an excuse. We don't.
Yeah, they have an excuse. You don't. And the final game of the regular season saw the Titans take on the Dragons in a quarterfinal. The winner was going to go to Gqeberha to play the Warriors in the qualifier. And so it happened in Centurion with all the rain around. And the Dragons batted first. They scored 167 for 8. And was set a target of 144 with the game reduced to 29 overs, and the Titans won by 8 wickets. So the Dragons batting first, Vian Libba scoring 67 of 65, Yanaman Malan 31 of 77. That was tough for him. Dominic Hendricks 26 of 49. He's been loaned from the Lions. And they managed to get them to 167 for 8. Duan Jansen taking 3 wickets for 32, and then Neil Brandt 2 for 18, and a wicket apiece for Khalim, Williams, and Engelbrecht. In response, Rivaldo Munsami scoring 60 of 56, Keegan Peterson 31 of 34, and Neil Brandt 47 of 30. And it was only a wicket for Carl Fryer and Onke Nyaku in that game. And disappointing way to finish the season for Northwest, but yeah, the Titans somehow found a way to get back into contention, and they have a chance at a trophy if they find a way to beat the Warriors in Gqeberha. Tim, we've got a qualifier on Wednesday, Warriors and Titans. How do you see that qualifier going?
The Warriors should win. It's not the Warriors. The Warriors are flying high. They're confident. They're playing very good cricket. They are just behind the Lions in terms of performance in this competition. As you say, they've won the T20 competition. They should win this. They should win this, and I think they win this reasonably comfortably. I think that the Titans been very up and down this season, very inconsistent. I'd be surprised if the Warriors did not get over the line, because this Warriors team is not the team of 2 seasons ago of talent, non-delivery. This is a team of talent, and is now delivering with trophy and consistency. So I'd be very, very surprised if the Warriors did not get over the line in this fixture.
No, that's true, Tim. I have the same sentiments. I think across the board, the Warriors are much better than the Titans, and I'd struggle to see where the Titans could come through. Maybe the top order, if Sinokwane, Munsami, Peterson, and Brandt bat their lives away and score like 300 runs, 300 plus, it would be something you'd look to. But remember, I think the Warriors scored 400 this season. And so you have a situation where they are better in all aspects, but the way you win this game is if the Titans actually back them out of the game. Because I think from a bowling perspective, it's not going to be as exciting. I see Lazard, I see Junior Dal, I see Duan Jansen. I think they can do it, but I'm not sure if they're there at this time of the season from a form perspective. But yeah, that's the qualifier that's going to happen. Now let's have a look at relegation and promotion. Let's look at promotion from Div 2. Div 2 confirmed. The Knights winning full maximum points from winning all 3 tournaments. They are in. The Inyati in second, 21 points. The Badgers in third with 19 points. Eastern's disappointing season again with 16 points. Mpumalanga Rhinos with 15 points. Northern Cape Heat with 5. And Limpopo with 2. Limpopo regressing very badly there after a great season 2 years ago. And then from a relegation perspective, everything has been confirmed outside of any legal challenges the Tuskers may want to have. But the Lions sit on top of the log with 31 points, the Warriors on 30 points, Boland on 23, the Dolphins on 16, Titans on 11. They had a poor season. They don't want to be there anymore. Northwest finding a way to survive again on 10 points. Western Province, the luckiest of them all, with 7 points, and the Tuskers with only 1 point across the 3 tournaments. So the Tuskers go back down to Division 2, and now it's a 2-year wait, not a 1-year wait. So that's going to be very, very tough for them from a financial perspective. And then now, finally, let's go to the upcoming fixtures. Oh, before we do that, the Lions are going to host the final on Sunday at 1 p.m. at the Wanderers. So if you want to go check them out, please do. So upcoming fixtures, it is, let's get that up so we can close out the show very quickly. So tomorrow, the SA women, it's under 19 women taking on Zimbabwe in Lagos. I've been watching that series. It's really interesting and intriguing. Then they take on Nigeria and Lagos as well. Really, really awesome to see Denisha and the girls that side. Mika van der Forst is doing quite well that side of the world in the north. Then on Wednesday, the Proteas Women and Men play their final T20 games in New Zealand and Hamilton. On Wednesday, it's a decider for the men because the series is 2-2, but the women are looking to get that series to 3-2 in Hamilton. And then same day as the qualifier, the Warriors and the Titans in Gqeberha at 1 p.m. We spoke about that one. And then on Sunday is the first ODI with the New Zealand women taking on the Proteas Women in Christchurch. And we've forgotten about that, the One Day Cup final with the winner of the qualifier coming up to the Wanderers to take on the DP World Lions. Tim, we've reached the end of our show. Lots of domestic stuff to talk about. Is there anything that you want to say as we close off the show?
Apologies for all the grammatic errors that I kept seeing on my screen for the last 10 minutes. It's very frustrating.
Tim, you don't do this for money. You don't get paid to do this. And if someone wants to pay us to do this, Tim will sort out his grammatical issues. So please do buy me a coffee and be like Tim's Grammar. Or if you're a sponsor and want to sponsor the show, World Sports Betting, Hollywood Bets, that type of stuff, we're ready to be corporatized. We don't do this for love of cricket alone. The T20 world has got sponsors. We will get sponsors too. But yeah, outside of that, thank you very much. Good luck to everyone playing cricket this week. This is the final week of cricket in South Africa. It's the end of our cricketing year. And we'll be talking about end of season stuff and awards and all of that in the coming weeks and having player interviews, because that's what we do. We're a podcast that does it all year round. Enjoy it because, yeah, August is far away and September's even further away. So, yeah, from myself and Tim is goodbye and lesale kakagiso.